are preparing to go live, and we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome, Teresa, to the Empowered Parents group. We are so excited to have you. Just start off, guys. This is Teressa Everton. She is my dear friend as well. I love her to bits, which is why I thought she was perfect for our audience, for what she stands for, and the way she supports me as well on my journey. And I can see that how much value she will give to all of the beautiful, amazing parents that we've got in our group, Teresa. So warm welcome. We've got close to 2,000 members in this group. Amazing parents with their own unique journeys and struggles as we do, and challenges. And empowered parenting is about giving parents back their power and asking ourselves, who am I behind the mask, as you said, is perfect on the path that we are in, because it does begin with the parent questioning. I love questions. I love being curious. Ask, where is this thought coming from? Where is the feeling coming from? Why is this important to me? These are important questions we ask as we come to identification of ourselves. And the reason why I do this, why it's so important, actually not, before I say why it's important, I would like to share about my own journey on identifying this mask. Before that, Teresa, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about you, about your family, and then we can go into the details. But just give us a little bit about you. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you very much, Yolanda, for having me on, and thank you everybody else. I'm so excited to speak about this topic because this is where my passion lies. So who is Teressa? Teressa Everton is my name, behind the mask. Now, behind the mask, there's a person. My titles, and that's my mask, is what I call. I was a former teacher for 21 years. 7 of those years was in Tasmania, was in, no, I wish it was in overseas actually, and it was in Taipei, Taiwan, and loved every moment of it. I learned who Teressa was away from the comfort zone as well, away from family and friends. And then I also became an art therapist, a music therapist, a drumming therapist, a laughter therapist, a hypnotherapist, a timeline, and also an NLP therapist. So there's 10 play-based therapists, or therapies, I should say, that I actually wear proudly, because those are my bags of tricks that I pull out as a therapist myself. So I am an owner of 2 businesses, one called Cool Kids Tutoring, and the other one is Empowered Therapy and Training. Together, they are becoming a foundation. And my passion in life is unraveling who we are, whether we are parents, whether we are siblings, whether we are a partner, whether we are, parents with teens, parents with preteens, but basically understanding who we are is the core and the source of our foundation. And I often really look at who we are for preteens and teens is a question that we all ask from that age on. So that's a little bit about myself there.
Yeah, brilliant. And that is, you're right about that. It is the foundation. And how often do we miss this foundation because we are ticking boxes, getting things done, doing what we believe we need to do. And days pass because we've got kids to look after, laundry to be cleaned, dishes to be done, meals to be prepared, work, income, all of these boxes that need to be ticked, and we forget. And that's what leads to burnout. Correct. Burnout, exhaustion. Not so many parents come to me just seeking for clarity of who they are. Are they, do they start to become identified with the challenges that they face and feel broken down from there, because it's helpless when you're raising teens and when you're raising kids, especially with special needs. And I know you do a lot of work with kids with special needs, Teresa. Um, it's not easy in any way, and it's so easy to lose our identity.
Definitely. And if we don't start within, most of our parenting when it comes to preteens and teens, the teens turn around and say, I've heard you all these years, 12 years, 15 years, 16 years. Now I want to hear, from my friends. I want to hear from my mentors. And their mentors could be, their music mentors, the words in the music and all. So no more are they listening to just what the parents are saying. They're looking for the outer, voices. And the outer voices come from, sometimes they're superstars, they're sports stars, and, stars where it's not mum and dad anymore that they used to put up on a pedestal when they were younger. So
Yeah.
things change.
Yeah, and that's brilliant how our kids are looking to find their identity, especially in those teen years, which can be very challenging for a lot of teenagers. It's them seeking their identity. And what I like to highlight with the parents, in my group and those that I work with, is our kids to perceive the challenges we face with our kids as challenging us to get to know ourselves better. The reasons why, or many of the reasons why we feel challenged by our kids, and we feel threatened, or we feel like we are not a good enough parent, a lot of that comes up in our parenting, especially when we are being challenged, is because we have not come in congruence. Or once we come in congruence with who we are, the less challenged we become.
That's
And
right.
the goal is to be able to meet and see the child with their challenges from a perspective of an observer. And we can do that when we feel, or when we take the steps to go within, ask those questions: who am I? And know who am I, and know what you stand for, and know what your values are. And that's what allows us to have greater trust and confidence in ourselves, which then allows us to take this confident and trusting parent to a child. And I think that's one of the biggest gifts we can give to our kids, is a parent who trusts themselves, that they've got the situation no matter what, they will see the way out, and that they have confidence in themselves, because that just gives our child that foundation that they're seeking. So many kids are just seeking to find their way in the world, and they've been reaching out to their parents all along, and then they start to see that their parent is not consistent. Their parent does not have confidence in themselves. Their parent is wavering. There's these undealt emotions and anger and past experiences that the parent hasn't come to terms with. This gives a very shaky foundation to the kids as we raise them through those challenging years. I'd love to hear your perspective on that, Teresa.
So true,
And I'll
Yolanda.
just say to the rest of the audience watching, we've got a lot of you watching online live. Share with us in the comment section, where does this resonate with you? What are you hearing? Do you know yourself? Let's answer that question. Do you know yourself? Do you have clarity? What are you seeking? Take it away, Teresa.
Thank you very much, Yolanda. Basically, what you did say then is the parents need to actually look at, and sometime in their parenting, that my child's going to question me in so many different ways, to actually look at you and go, do you know who you are? You're telling me what to do and you're telling me how to do it, but do you know who you are? Because
Yeah.
remember, they've been watching you for so many years.
Yeah.
They've been watching you, but also looking at different emotions, Yolanda. And they watch by looking at your fears and where you actually have sometimes your anger, or where you're bringing your stuff, because the carbon copy of the generational stuff sometimes does overlap. within our parenting as well. Even though we always say, when I become a parent, I'm going to do things differently. But let's get to the core of it all. Let's get into who am I? That question, I'm not just a mother or a father. I'm not just a sister. I'm not just a sibling. I'm not just this or that and more. But just remember, you're not just a parent either. Who are you besides the parent? Who are you besides that title that you wear when you go to work? Who are you besides that title of being in that relationship of that partnership with your loved one as well? Who's that woman when we face in the mirror? Who's that man? So when we all look at how's our day in society, our day really works with, now let's get real, people. Our day works with wearing different masks. And we might have so many different masks because it's called survival, people. We had to survive in some way. So the mask that we wear at work is a different mask that we wear with our best friends. The mask that we wear with our partner, our loved one, is a different mask when we actually telling our children what to do and how to do it. Now, when we look at the mask sometimes hides us from the true self. And the true self is the self that's hiding from the world. Now, we need to ask ourselves, our true identity is a result, Yolanda, of are we running our own race in this world, or are we running somebody else's life or lifestyle, their race? Could it be from our past of our parenting, our other parents, who brought us up? So when we look at masking, what is masking? Masking is taking away the natural personality, of social pressures, your personality traits. And where did this come from? Came from a fear base. And the fear base of these emotions came from harassment and sometimes abuse. People put you down. And people either did that in a way to say you weren't good enough. So then you wore a different mask. And you could have been as young as 7 years old or even younger. So when we look at, there's two different sides to a mask. And when we look at those two different temperaments, it's really looking at, it comes from environmental factors. And the environmental factors come from rejection. It comes from physical, sometimes sexual abuse as well. It comes from being labeled and having a label of, could be a disorder. So when we look at people who's been masked, especially with ASD in our today's society, the autistic side of trying to survive and belong. So if you were a child, who'd been labeled with that, you'll go in society saying, I'm going to school right now wearing a different mask. So when I come home, I actually come home, I need to unrelease, I should say, all that pressure that I've been wearing that mask all day at school. And then if you're a parent who's actually been telling your child, this is the way we are here to live and survive, because you don't want your child to actually have the pressures of life, then we're just teaching our child how to put a different mask on for survival.
I was just going to say, there are so many kids out there who feel like they need to put another mask at home so that they can please their parents or act in ways, and that's the struggle. We need to have our homes safe, where the environment is safe enough, where our kids don't feel the need to put a mask on to please us or to behave in ways that adhere to the parents' expectations. Do you come across that too, Teresa?
All the time, Yolanda. And basically, if we look at what is life, what is living, everybody is in different characters. We are our own director, producer, of how our story plays out per day. So we run through all these different characters called survival, but really it's called masking. How damaging is masking? Now, this is the serious part about it all. The longer we wear different masks, the harder it takes and the longer it takes for us to know the true self. So as parents, we are just surviving, but we're not striving unless we actually stop and go, right, what mask am I wearing to, one, be a parent, two, in my relationship with my loved one, three, also go out in the workforce, four, as well, to upload the expectations of my own parents and siblings and friends and everything else in society.
Can I add one more mask that some parents might wear? Is a mask to themselves, the lies they tell themselves.
That's where I was leading to, because it's about that. Where are we hiding from and why? Where are we hiding? Where are our areas and our traits and our patterns and our behaviors of us hiding our true self? So that's the first thing.
Beautiful. I'm going to tie this in because I really can feel parents wanting to know now, how do we get this mask off, Teresa? What are some tips that I know that you and I can keep talking about this for the next few days? Because it is very close to our heart. Our journey has been about facing the courage, and it is courageous to take out those masks and identify, oh my gosh, these is who I play out to. These are my core needs, and it's okay to have my needs. So I will let you share just three tips that you can share to all of these beautiful people who have been commenting and joining us. And for those who will join us and watch this later, do put #replay if you are watching this later, so we can know who you are, we can connect with you, and feel free to reach out and support you too. So Teresa will also, at the end of her 3 tips, also share a little bit about how you can stay in touch with her and what event she has coming up. So take it away, Teresa.
Thank you very much, Yolanda. 3 tips here, everybody. The first tip is look outside of the people who carry positive traits in your life. You might have an uncle, you might have somebody that you actually go, wow, they are an awesome parent. Or wow, I love the way that they're giving back in life. Or wow, they're patient within themselves. Look at three different traits. Start there first and go, that is a trait that I would like to work on first and foremost. Okay, and then really work on those traits, those habits, those patterns, and everyday practice. Start with one trait, but always make sure that it comes from the positive. And remember, consistency is the key.
Can I add one thing to that, Teresa, which I think is really, that really gets me in that, is that the reason why you notice it to be positive is because it is something that you are. So you're reflecting, that person is reflecting back a part of you. So don't think that, oh, that's great within them, but good for them. The reason you see it as a positive in them is because it is a reflection of an inner, behind the mask, positive trait of yourself. Just wanted to add that little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. We think alike here, Yolanda, because I was going to take them right there too, because that trait, the only reason it is a reflection, as Yolanda said, is because you see it as something what is part of you, but you also know that one day you want to work towards that. One day is for the now, right? So get that in the present. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, look at your sore spots. Where are you triggered? Now, we call it the Band-Aid effect. You put a Band-Aid on anything in life. Once you peel that Band-Aid, you still have a sore underneath that you need to work on. Right.
You need
Work
to
on,
heal.
correct. Work on one sore spot for the first week as well. This is your second tip for the day. Now, work on that sore spot. And most of the time when masking, we actually look at that's an environmental sore spot. So when we look at the environment and society, why am I wearing that mask? Why am I protecting my heart from being sore with a certain emotion? And that emotion comes from fear-based. That emotion could be, Yolanda, doubt. That emotion could be as well shame. That emotion could be blame. So work on that sore spot. Find one area that you would like to go back and change in your life, where you pull and you're brave enough with the courage to pull that Band-Aid and say, that is point number 2.
Brilliant.
Does that make sense there?
Beautifully said. Well done. Yep.
Number 3, everybody, is don't be hard on oneself, because is the glass half full or half empty? Where are you placing your magnifying glass? In the positive, and you're highlighting all the positivity, or the negative? So the negative aspects in life. So I always say to all the people I work with, now let's do a checklist. Where's your magnifying glass? Listen to what is coming out of the thoughts. And I often say is check in. That's your results. Because everything starts here in your thoughts, then it comes from the mouth, then it goes to behavioral of the reaction. 1, 2, and 3, ladies and gents. So when we look at masking, who am I? Check in here. Look here and go, I'm highlighting. I can hear myself putting myself down again, and switch it and go, right now I'm going to do the 15-second rule by switching it and going, 15 seconds. So switching it into saying positive, replacements.
Beautiful.
Or doing something positive to override what I just saw myself do.
Wonderful. That was brilliant, Teresa. So much value. Tell us, guys, all of you watching, all of you beautiful parents watching or watching a replay, tell us about how brilliant did you think? Did you like point 1, point 2, point 3? Put in the comment section 1, 2, or 3, or if you like them all, what are you going to trial out? Remember, our brain needs specificity. Decide today, what are you going to incorporate in your day-to-day? I would say dive in 1, 2, and 3. Let's be looking for the positives out there. Let's understand. This allows us to know who we are, because you wouldn't be seeing that in the other person if it wasn't already in you. So let's look at that. Let's put a magnifying glass on that. Let's amplify that behavior. And let's look for those positives in our kids too, guys. Put a magnifying glass on the positives that you see on their kids. We feel we are so responsible to rectify the bad behaviors or things that upset us or things that concern us. But really, guys, our role, really parents, our role is to magnify the greatness in our kids so they can become more of it. As we focus on their challenges, focus on what they wanted to change. Think about it. You've been magnifying those behaviors, which is why it's a challenge today. So let's challenge ourselves to really focus on the positivity, as Teresa just mentioned so beautifully. The next step, correct me if I've got this wrong, but she says, let's rip off those bandages. Let's look at those wounds. Let's question even the negatives. Why are we seeing that? There's fear under it, which is why we are pushing it away. Let's not push it away. Let's rip the bandage, and let's go into that gentle, loving, caring, and nurturing and healing of ourselves. and it's all part and ties in beautiful with that, with self-compassion and being kind to your own self, supporting yourself like you would a good friend on who has taken on a courageous journey. Be your own greatest cheerleader. Did I get your 3 points right, Teresa?
Definitely, you did an awesome job there, Yolanda. And I just wanted to just quickly throw in there, we all know the list of what we don't want. It's time to now work on the list of what you do want.
What you do want.
So our list of don't wants are normally this big or bigger. So start with the list of what you do want, even if it's a small list. But that's when you're starting to take those masks off, layer upon layer.
Beautiful. That's so powerful. Thank you so much. You added so much value to my audience today. And we love you and we thank you and we look forward to having you on again. So those of you watching, if you would like Teresa to join us again on another Tuesday live with an expert, do put in, give us your thumbs up. Tell us if you'd like to see Teresa again, because I know I would love to have her on again. So thank you so much, Teresa. I can see that you've put in so quickly while chatting with us. You had all of your events in the tagged in the comment section. Aren't you a multitasker, girl?
If there's a will, there's a way. If we can
That's
do it,
it.
you guys can do it too. We believe in you all. Thank you very
Lovely.
much.
Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. And thank you, Teresa. It's been an honor to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. Have an awesome week. Take care. Share love.
Bye.